So type 4, it's asking us to write a compare problem and a smaller unknown. So in the word problem, that is a compare type, we have two quantities. One of them is bigger, the other is smaller. And when we subtract them, we get the difference. So we want to make sure the word problem we write uses the word. We actually will ask you to do to both versions. So when you take the exam, I may ask you just do one of the versions, and the more than version or the fewer version. So first, and we also have to do strip diagram, addition equation, subtraction equation, and also identify which version is harder. So let's look at the two versions. So after you write down the word problem, make sure you double check it is a smaller unknown problem. So in this case, we have, say, Rachel has 41 CDs, and compared to a different person, Benny has 18 fewer CDs than Rachel. So notice Benny has fewer, which means Benny is the smaller number. So Rachel is the number of CDs Rachel has is the bigger number, and in the strip diagram, so this paper strip is longer. And Benny has 18 fewer. From the word fewer, we can tell Benny has the smaller number of CDs. So, which is unknown. That's what we're solving for. So my word problem does fit the description here. First of all, because I use the words fewer than, that tells us it's a compare problem. Secondly, the question, how many CDs does Benny have? And because Benny has fewer CDs, which means the number of CDs is a small number, so I am solving for the smaller quantity. So that's why this problem is a smaller unknown problem. Now, this is version 1. We could also write a different version 2, where you can say the version with more. So instead of saying Benny has 18 fewer CDs than Rachel, we could say Rachel has 18 more CDs than Benny. In either way, so all we did was to switch Benny and Rachel. Of course, when you switch Benny and Rachel, you have to change fewer to more, because if Rachel has Benny has fewer, which means Rachel has more. And these two different versions, they really mean exact the same thing. And so again, Rachel has more. So whether Benny has fewer or Rachel has more, so that's exactly the same thing. So we have the same drawing here, and the question is still going to be the same. How many CDs does Benny have? How many CDs does Benny have? So because we know Benny has 41. So we have both versions. Both versions can be solved by can be described by the same drawing here and the strip diagram. And when so that's the strip diagram, and write addition and a subtraction problem. So when you look at the drawing, the smaller number, the blue part, which is the question mark, plus the oval 18, it's how many more Rachel has or how many fewer Benny has, equals the number of CDs Rachel has. So this is the smaller number unknown plus the difference between Rachel's and Benny's equals the bigger number, 41. Okay, but if we do subtraction, it's going to be the bigger number 41 minus the difference equals the smaller. So we're solving for the smaller. So that's one addition, one subtraction problem. And part C, we need to identify which version is harder for students and why. So this, again, it's which version is harder depends on the problem. So we cannot say the fewer is always easier, or the more is always easier or always harder. We cannot say that. Depends on the question. So in this, the common mistake students make is whenever they see the word fewer, they always do subtraction, which is not always true. Whenever they see the word more, they always do addition, which is not always true. So it depends on the question. So in this problem, you notice that in order to solve for the smaller, we actually have to do subtraction. So And remember, the mistake students make, the student make is when they see the word fewer, they will do subtraction. When they see the word more, they will do addition. So apparently, second version is harder. Why? Because when they see the word, you use the word more, they think, okay, more, I gotta do addition. They will do 41 plus 18 instead of 41 minus 18. But if you give them the first version, when they see the word fewer, they know, okay, with fewer, I'm going to do subtraction. They don't really understand the question. They just remember fewer is minus, more is plus. So that makes it, but actually they don't understand the problem. And for fewer could be plus, more could be minus. So if it's a subtraction problem, and when you give them more, that it's harder. If it's a addition problem, then when you give them the version fewer, it's harder because they will do subtraction. Okay, so it's always the opposite of one, and that's harder for students. And also, I could ask you to do a bigger unknown, so you have to just say, and maybe Benny has 18 CDs, Rachel has Benny has like 23 CDs, and Rachel has 18 more. How many CD does Rachel has? So you're gonna have to switch them. So tell them Benny how many he has, and how many more Rachel has, and then we have to change that to a question mark. Then you're solving for the bigger. Okay, the difference unknown type will be, so if they ask you to write a problem, the difference unknown, you're going to have to tell them how many CDs Rachel has, 41, how many CD Benny has, 23, and then you're going to ask for, okay, how many more does Rachel have, or how many fewer does Benny have? So you're solving for the difference there. Okay, so all these three types you have to know. And one big mistake that I saw some students make is some students said Rachel and Benny have 40 CDs together, and then Benny has 18. So please don't do that. That's not correct. Okay, that problem cannot be. So please don't say 41 is the together number, and that problem cannot be solved by a simple addition or subtraction. It actually is much harder, and which can be solved by math drawing, but it's much harder than just like do a simple addition or subtraction. Okay, so again, the compare version use the words fewer or more than, or fewer than or more than, and also you will have to tell us how many one of the person has and solve for the other, or tell us how many each of them has and solve for the difference. So you cannot give a word problem saying they have how many together, and then one of them has fewer or less, and try to solve for the other, which is not going to be able to fit this description here.